Hi, welcome back to Midwest Meanderings. Well, I'm Holly Morrison. If you haven't been to our channel before, definitely check out our content. We are on a healing journey that's been going on for a couple of decades. This is an update on how we are doing on the carnivore diet. So we have been, as of the beginning of May, so right now we're mid to end of May, and we're on our family vacation that we go to every year at the ocean. And so I just thought this would be a great time to give our 1 year update. So, what has happened in a year of us being carnivore, meat-based, ketovore? There's so many languages that, so many words in this way of eating that I have learned over the last year. So I'll have to, somewhere along the line, give you a little cheater's guide on that one. So anyway, let me just tell you what's going on. So 12 months, Mary has been asthma free. As far as we're concerned, she's healed. She has been colitis free. No more diarrhea, no more loose stools, no more running to the bathroom. Her weight loss has stayed stable. She lost about 35, 40 pounds, leveled off right at about 35. I lost a good bit quickly. I think some of that was water weight. Had a real intense last fall season with a lot of sorrow, a lot of grief. Won't go into all the details with that. And my body just paused for months. And it looked like it paused in every respect, but I sustained this way of eating. And what our version of carnivore is, everybody's got their version of it, right? Everybody does. Our version is we were after this for the anti-inflammatory benefits. So we focused on the most anti-inflammatory foods we could put in our body. For us, the first 2 months, that meant beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. We have found that pork of all forms is not as beneficial to me as it is to my family. My family do fine on bacon and they do fine on pork. I do not thrive on pork. So I went very Lion's diet, which would be basically red meats, heavy red meats and seafood. That's what I thrived on. I didn't do very good on chicken. Have recently reintroduced chicken once a week, occasionally twice. But what I would do is my family loved chicken. So when we would have chicken, I would have a grass-fed burger, or I would get a grass-fed cube steak or a grass-fed steak if our budget allowed for it. We are not the carnivores that are eating ribeye every day. But we did buy half a cow last fall, and we enjoyed every bit of it. We actually just have a handful of bones left, and I used all of them. I asked for every single bone that was in that half a cow, and I've made bone broth week after week after week. Wonderful, gelatinous, beautiful bone broth. So anyway, what has happened in my body? So as Mary and I were the two big hitters. We were the ones. My 10-year-old daughter, now 10-year-old, she was a 9-year-old then, was having chronic asthma attacks. Somebody that used to be a vegetarian, long-term friend of mine of 20 years. Her husband's a physician. He used to be our pediatrician. Kind of, we feel like he's still our honorary pediatrician. They went from vegetarian to carnivore after 2 decades of vegetarian. And so I reached out desperate saying, hey, Becky, we don't know what to do, but we feel the Lord's just leading us to reach out to you and say, hey, Mary is having chronic asthma attacks. We're not getting any downtime in between. She's on every drug known to man, every steroid, every inhaler. They're switching her inhalers. It was terrible. So if you want to hear about our journey on that, just check out our playlist to do with our carnivore playlist and our journey and our healing journey. So anyway, she sent me a Dr. Baker video with a lady named Kat who healed her colitis and asthma. Interesting that my daughter had the same two, right? Within a week going carnivore. Yeah, you're going to hear some beach sounds. We've been using golf cart all week long. That's just how this little community is. We love it. And hopefully there will be no fireworks going off in a moment. So anyway, but what's happened with my body? Gosh, I was like the most autoimmune train wreck under the sun. Like, honestly, you could not have found a worst case scenario. I've been trying to heal this body for decades, 2 decades, seriously. So anyway, this just feels like a sweet kiss from the Lord to heal this body, this frame, the temple of the house of God. So I am so grateful that I ooze with gratitude. I ooze with gratitude. So my gratitude is I've been hypothyroid since I was in my early 20s. I am almost at 60 and I'm healing, like healing. I've never had a dosage decrease in my life. I've only had dosage increases with my thyroid medicine. I was at 155 milligrams between an MP thyroid and then I had a T3 that was a pure T3 that I was taking, 5 milligrams a day. And so my highest dosage I hit actually a few months into carnivore. That's when they added the T3, hoping that I could get some benefit, relief. I don't know. I just had every symptom under the sun that I was just staying triggered because I was already triggered. So again, we're right at 13 months now, but it was the beginning of May last year is when we switched our diet overnight. Cold turkey. Yep, we jumped in. I mean, blue lips and can't breathe. That's where my daughter was. So I told her no matter what change we had to make, I was going to make it with her. I mean, because I was ready to heal too, but I honestly didn't expect what happened to me. So let me tell you what happened to me. Well, I lost weight. That was great. I'm in sizes and weight and number I haven't seen since the 80s, the 1980s. College for me is the last time I've been a size 16. And actually when I got married, I was a size 16. So that's the last time I've seen this weight and this size, because they tell you to watch your waistband, watch your measurements, not just the scale, because you're going to gain density through gaining muscle. And I have. But I stalled for 4 months until I figured out I needed to go Lion's diet. So once I went Lion's diet, my stall changed and I started moving a little weight. But what really started changing was my thyroid started healing. I was prioritizing fat a lot more. So I wasn't low fat in the beginning, but my gallbladder, I've always had a really sleepy gallbladder. They wanted to take it out more than a few times. So we did not take it out. Thank God I did not do that. But what has happened is my gallbladder woke up. Dr. Allen told me, Becky's husband, that it would wake up. He said, don't freak out. Just keep doing the things that you know that you've always done to help you with your gallbladder. So carnivore is not a religion for me. Neither was vegan when I was a vegan a long time ago. I met a lot of people that were vegan and it was a religion. And if you did not follow the rules, you have betrayed the club. I am not an honorary member of the Carnivore Club. I am all about healing the temple and the house of God club. And the Lord told me the healing was in the fat and the meat. And I believed him. It didn't fit my paradigm. It didn't fit my grid. It didn't fit Genesis 1:29. But the Lord told me that where I would land long term would be different than what I needed to do right then. Right then was save Mary's life. And yes, my God, who is this man that even the wind and the seas obey him? I mean, we're here in the middle of May in South Carolina at our favorite spot, Ocean Lakes. Check them out. They're amazing. And the weather's been like divine, like 80s and sunshine and gorgeous. And I mean, it looked like this was going to be the worst week ever, but we needed to come in May. It was working for all of our family things. And so anyway, that's how the Lord rolls. So backtrack a bit. I've been praying for my thyroid. I've been praying for my body to heal for decades, like believing God. And then November happened. And I had my first decrease in my entire life of thyroid medicine. And then my second decrease came about a month later. My third decrease came about a month later. My fourth decrease came a few weeks after that. Of course, I'm communicating with my holistic minded doctor, like, yeah, you know, medical help, right? This is a prescription medicine. And I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, have you ever seen anybody have this many decreases in their thyroid? I mean, I'm an RN. I mean, I got my degree in the 80s. I've never seen anybody decrease their thyroid medicine, like ever. And she's like, I have to say, I have never seen anybody. And again, I feel like the fat. It's not just the protein, it's the fat. But I got a hold of Dr. Bright. If you haven't heard of her, I will put a link to her book through Amazon. That might be the easiest way to introduce you to her. I don't even think she has a YouTube channel, but I had watched her on 5 Minute Body. I think that's the name, or maybe the Butter Gal. I can't remember. I watched her on several different places that people were interviewing her. But she's got a really impressive knowledge about women in menopause and just how to heal your body through good fats. Also, Dr. Berry interviewed somebody that was talking about thyroid, and that doctor talked a lot about iodine, and I've been trying to work iodine in my diet, or iodine-rich foods. I've been doing that for a long time. But I really feel like it was the fat. Like, you need fat to heal your hormones. Well, guess what? Thyroid is your hormones. All of your hormones need fat to build it. So I just had my 5th decrease about 3 weeks ago. And I'm going to get labs redrawn again in 3 more weeks. And I am already sensing that I'm going to need another decrease. So right now I'm at 37 milligrams. I was at 155 in November of 2023. And this is only like summer, like the end of May of 2024. So I am believing within the next 6 months, I'll be off of all of my thyroid medicine, which is just like nothing other than a miracle. So I've been on bioidentical hormones since 2020. And yeah, we're mid-summer, beginning of the summer of 2024. I'm on the lowest of estrogen that they can prescribe, and now I'm skipping days. So I'm on the lowest they can actually make as far as compounding at a pharmacy, and I'm skipping days. So I'm having to do every other day of the lowest dose they can do. My progesterone, which they believe I've been progesterone deficient all of my life, and I've had evidence of that. Like, I had preterm labor with most of my pregnancies. I have had, just all the symptoms of being low progesterone, even tested low progesterone when they actually bothered to test it. So anyway, I've been able to lower that significantly, but I don't know that will ever be something I will be free of, but I hope. Why not? I'm off of the thyroid medicine. Why not? Because my body is healing. So anyway, Keith is still off of 2 of his diabetic medicines. He still has the need for 1, but he's never been able to maintain the sugars that he's at, which is like pretty much, he'll have his lower ones will be in the 90s, his higher ones will be in the 120s, and that's only on 1 med, but he was on 3. So this guy was like a brittle diabetic. And he wasn't really being the best, staying free. Like, every time we would go somewhere for a gathering and I would have a taste of something, you know what I mean? Like, we call those visits. Mary gets to have visits with her way of eating, because sometimes she has a play date with a friend and she'll get to have this or the other, or we'll send this or the other. That'll still be something that we wouldn't necessarily consume now that we're doing this way of eating. But again, we're all about anti-inflammatory. So obviously no carb and plant-free and fruit-free is those anti-nutrients that are in those foods are important. And pardon me, I'm trying to do this without Rachel recording, so there might be a weird angle that we're at some point, but that's just because I'm holding the phone. So anyway, fruit-free is what I had been. I do a little bit now, here or there, 2 times a week, maybe a half a serving of blueberries or blah, blah, blah. I am not overly concerned with that. I am thriving. My energy is amazing. My sleep is amazing. My clarity of thought is amazing. I feel the best I have ever felt in my entire life. I honestly was bored out of my mind in the beginning. Okay, so I'm gonna just be honest. I was. I missed the and. Like, you would eat this and. It's like, what goes with the chicken? What goes with the steak? There's an and. Steak and potato, right? So I was missing the ands. So eventually we started reintroducing, because we treated this as an elimination protocol. So we started testing the waters, not daily, 1 item a week. And if it was not on an anti-inflammatory list, it did not come in my home. You understand? We're not testing the waters with something we know is going to be a trigger for Mary or for myself. So we found that pretty much the entire squash family, no trigger whatsoever. Onions, no trigger whatsoever. Garlic, no trigger whatsoever. Now, we're not wearing those foods out, and we're not looking at them as food per se. I look at them as a vehicle for fat. because I can't just go, okay, I'm ready to eat fat, junk, or I'm eating a ribeye. Boom. I can afford a ribeye every day. So we add butter to our burgers, we add butter to our chicken, and we've got lots of tips and things like that that we'll start putting out some more content and giving some of those suggestions on how to go about that. So, but for me, you know, a vegetable on the side was a great way to pop in some extra fat. Really easy, and it just made it more pleasant for everybody. But no, we weren't doing that. Most days we're just still 95% carnivore. I am pretty much ketovore. I think that Dr. Ken Berry's Naisha, his wife, has kind of coined that term, which basically means you're like 20 to 30 grams of carbs. Mine is primarily coming through dairy. We do raw kefir. I do butter. I do heavy cream in my coffee. And I do cheese, but I treat cheese like a condiment. I don't treat cheese like a food group. So most days I'm probably closer to 10 to 15. Some days I might be 30 to 40. I'm not really tracking the grams anymore. I tracked them in the beginning until I could get a handle on it and feel comfortable with it and know what's going on. I used to weigh myself daily to find what was triggering me, because when I would have a trigger, I would feel like I might be swollen, but my weight would go up 3 pounds in 12 hours. So I was like, okay, that is clearly a trigger. So that's how I found pork was bad for me. I didn't necessarily feel bad, but I felt a little puffy, like there was, and I don't do good with electrolyte drinks. I do great with supplementing with potassium, and I do great supplementing with magnesium. So I do those as a supplement, like a capsule. Done. But the drinks were overloading me with sodium. I don't seem to need a ton of sodium. I put it in my food. I like it. It's kind of naturally occurring in a lot of meat. So I'm not a heavy salter person. I never have been. And I don't avoid salt. I just use good salt. I use Redmond's salt. There are other ones that are good. So you get to choose what you like. You get to choose what your body is thriving with. So for me, I do great with Redmond's real salt. And they've got some other products out too that I think are quite good. So, all right, so that's our update. Let's see, Rachel's doing great. She never really had any autoimmune issues. She had a little bit of weight to lose. She lost it. She's thriving. She's a mom. I could be carnivore the rest of my life. And if you want to look at it by the label, she would be more keto because she does fruit. They both do honey and maple syrup occasionally. They were doing it a lot more often, but they've veered towards not so much. So it's like having the option, I think, helped their hearts. Yeah, so that's where she's landed. She maintained her weight loss that she lost that first 4 or 5 months, and then she's pretty much stayed almost the same weight within 3 pounds. Her energy is great. Her clarity of thought is great. Her skin is clear. All things that she was battling before. Energy is great. Sleep is consistently the same. And I would say Mary the same with that. Mary can breathe. She has never had, the only time we had a trigger is when we were reintroducing foods. The main trigger for Mary is tomatoes in every form, whether it's raw, whether it's pasteurized, whether it's whatever. We have not tried fermented yet, and we are going to try that this summer just because she adores tomatoes. It was actually her favorite food, and that just something else. It was the thing that triggered her the most, and it's the food that she loved the most. So she went through a grieving process of letting that go. But beyond that, I love tomatoes raw, so I was really a tomato in the summer person. I love bruschetta. I love fresh pico. I still love bruschetta. I still love fresh pico. We did not do that last summer. We grew tomatoes and gave everything away. I grew them from seed because that's how much we all love fresh tomatoes. But moving along, we got through that. This year we did not grow tomatoes from seed, but we do have a lot of cantaloupe, watermelon, a bunch of stuff we threw in the garden. Every squash known to under the sun, the hard squashes, the winter squashes, they all did great with. We just would roast them, or sometimes we would make a puree with one with bone broth, add butter in and some cream, and you've got butternut squash soup. That is divine. Thank God. No trigger whatsoever. And these are like, for us, it's like every other day, maybe twice a week, maybe 4 times a week. Cucumber salad's Mary's favorite food. Thank God nothing in that recipe is a trigger, and it's my grandfather's recipe, Papa. So that is something that Mary would make twice a week just for herself because she loved it. Now, Rachel and I would eat it. We love it. Keith is the happiest carnivore under the sun. The man's like, no fruit, no vegetables, just give me some meat. And he's finally understood how important butter is. He had the highest A1C his first 6 months of carnivore because he was doing protein, but he was not prioritizing fat. And guess what happens? Butter Bob will tell you that. There's great channel. That's not the name of the channel, but if you put in Butter Bob, he will explain to you how important fat is. Because if you're eating muscle and you're not eating fat, and Keith was not, and he loved chicken, but he loved lean chicken, then you will trigger an insulin response. And if you're triggering an insulin response, you are not losing weight. Because if you're triggering insulin, you're putting weight on in your midriff. Okay, so all that to say, fat matters. You know, they say this matters. Fat matters. You need it. So anyway, I don't want to get too lengthy with this because I think sometimes long videos just kind of people go check out on you. But that's our update. I feel like there's so much more I could tell you, but I just want to tell you, don't get bogged down into, oh, all I can do is meat. I don't like meat. I was a happy vegetarian. Do you understand? I love vegetables. I still love vegetables. And guess what? I still eat them. I eat my favorite ones that don't trigger. For me, my worst trigger was bell pepper. And guess what one of my favorite vegetables was? Bell peppers. I love them raw. I love them stir-fried. I love them any way that you could give them to me. Guess what I don't eat at all anymore? Not even a little, not even a visit, not even a fudge. It would trigger pain. Oh, pain! Hello! How did I forget that? Pain-free. I don't mean a little pain-free. I mean no arthritis. My bursitis has been gone now for about 2 months. It went away last summer, and then sometime in the fall, it came back. It did not go away again until intermittently. It started going away the first of the year, 2024. And I would say 60% of it was mostly gone by late winter, and it's just been 100% gone. How about that, right? So, and I mean, until you've had bursitis or tendinitis, you don't understand. But when you trigger bursitis or tendinitis, it's an itis, it's a pain that takes months to go away. Usually there's injections involved. Painful injections. I mean, painful. And I've had this chronically since my wreck that I had over 20 years ago. And pretty much doctors would just say, well, this is a chronic condition. There's really nothing you can do about it, but just deal with it. And here's some drugs. I'm like, no thanks. I am drug free. I don't do that. So anyway, but and of course arthritis was gone so quick. It was already mostly managed because I've been collagen rich and turmeric and all that good stuff for a long time. And yes, I still consume turmeric. I went off of it for 2 months, but my liver functions and my body feels happier on turmeric. So I take turmeric supreme. I've got a link for that on my supplements video. So check out that video if you want to learn how to heal yourself naturally through holistic remedies that actually work. So anyway, I think this is closing our update. God bless you. And I really just hope you give our channel a like, of course, give us a sub and share our content. YouTube doesn't like holistic channels. They don't like people that do not have an FDA approved protocol for X, Y, and Z. The biggest update I did not give you. Lord, this one's huge. Went to the dentist, and I had a bit of a gap from my last cleaning because we had some insurance things that changed over, and then we were trying to find somebody who took our insurance. I mean, I was just grateful we had insurance for dental. We've gone many years without it. So I go in for a checkup after forever. I mean, I'm talking like a year and 3/4 from the last cleaning. So I'm in there, and she's cleaning my teeth, and she stops, and she goes, "Why are you here?" And I'm like, I said, well, I mean, I know it's been a while, but she's like, how long a while? And I'm like, almost 2 years since I had the last cleaning. She says, sweetheart, it looks like you were in my chair 6 weeks ago. She says, you have no inflammation. She said, you have no plaque. She says, it's like I have nothing to do. Well, my daughters were in the other rooms, right? And they're getting their teeth done. And guess what? When the dentist comes in to talk to me about their teeth, she talks to me about my teeth and talks to me about their teeth. And she's like, I have never had a whole family in here with no bleeding gums, no swelling, no inflammation. And I was like, well, let me tell you why. So I got to tell them about that. And They wrote down the name of my channel and they're going to check out some of our content. But I said, there's lots of people out there talking about this, and there's lots of people getting crazy, crazy breakthroughs. So, but they were just, she's like, I've never had anybody that's gone 2 years between dental cleanings have no inflammation. And let me tell you when that happened for me. For me, I started noticing when I was flossing my teeth on a daily basis that I stopped seeing pink. And occasionally I would see blood, but I would see pink often, you know, especially in those tighter fitting spots. And so I stopped seeing that. That was probably 4 months into Carnivore. And then I never saw it again, and I haven't seen it since. So, and this cleaning was literally just like 3 months ago. Yeah, February, somewhere in there. Yeah, isn't that amazing? So I would just say that's huge, right? Because if you have no inflammation, guess what you don't have? You don't have cavities, you don't have infection, you don't have any drainage, you don't have teeth that need fillings. You have zero reason to really even be at the dentist if you have no inflammation. That's it. That's all I got to say. God bless you. Thanks for swinging in. And please share our content. Wear them out. Like if they try to like deplatform us, or they try to make, I know I need to get my content in other places. I've had so many people say I should check out Patreon. I may get into that. I don't know. I just want to share. I want people to heal, and I want them to have options. This is a powerful healing tool that the good Lord plopped in my lap as a result of crying out and praying. So thanks for dropping in. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. If you made it to the end, tell me you made it to the end and you heard about my dental update, so I know that you made it to the end. All right, I bless you, I bless you, I bless you, and thank you for coming along on our Midwest Meanderings journey and healing by revelation from the Most High God. He is faithful. He hears the cries of his people, and he wants us all on the ark of natural remedies. God bless you.